By the end of this video, I am going to give you a transformation on your existential level. In mind, body, and soul, you will experience an energetic shift. But before I can do that, I need to ask you this question. Have you ever wondered why in the Bible they say things like, "Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven"? Or how Dr. Joe Dispenza says, you need to experience the elevated emotion before you can manifest something out of the quantum. Or how Neville Goddard always says, you need to live from the end. Now, I'm not going to give you a simple way to bypass this process, but what I am going to give you is a transformational piece of wisdom that will take you from knowing to understanding, that will take you from thinking to doing to being. Because I unlocked this for myself in the last 24 hours, and it was a transcendental experience that I have no choice but to sit down in my backyard, no whiteboard, and share this raw transmission with you because it changed my life to a core, and I would be doing you a disservice not to share this with you. But in order for me to describe this and help you with this transformation through the best way possible, I need to preface this. Now, over the last 60, 90 days, I've been building this brand because my entire life I felt called to serve people, to help alleviate suffering, and to awaken greatness within so that you no longer look back on life wondering what if. So you can naturally let your true potential rise and do whatever you wanted from this life and more. Now, in the process over the last 90 days, I felt myself fall from a state of natural realization. And what was happening was I became so focused on how to create videos that would get views. I became so focused on how to launch an offer and speak to an individual that would make them want to be a part of my business and offer. Now that is great because I am doing it from a place of pure service and pure intention. But I was living in the world. This is why they say in the Bible, be in this world, but not of it. Not only was I in this world, but I was falling victim to the false idols of this world. Now, I want to introduce you to how you can naturally unlock the kingdom of heaven from within and start to live from the end, start to naturally experience elevated emotions. And I promise you, I'm going to give you a framework into which you have to exert no effort, no force, and it will be the thing that most naturally arises from your being, right? In Taoism, they talk about Wu Wei, effortless action. I want to show you how to create a clear channel so the highest frequencies come through you in which you can naturally experience the life of your desire. But I need to do this through storytelling. So, as you know, I fell to a lower state of consciousness. I was motivated by the money, motivated by the views, motivated by the status at times. And that put me into a state of force or resistance. When the thing that brought me the most success and the most natural growth was when I truly shared with you guys the true understanding that the Tao or pure consciousness or God or the quantum is our natural state of being. And it is the illusion and our holding on to lower states of consciousness like fear, anger, doubt, guilt that keeps us stuck in that place. And I want to use a metaphor for you. I want you to think about if you were in the pool behind me and you had a beach ball, and you were weighing down your entire existence to keep that beach ball underwater when all it wanted to do was shoot up. You see how much force and resistance you have to exert to prevent that beach ball going from where it naturally wants to go? Or if we look at elemental forces like rock versus fire, rock is way down. It naturally wants to go with gravity and fall into a denser state because it's heavy, but fire's looking to take off from its source and fly out into the air. So how do we create this in your life so you can naturally be restored to an elevated state of consciousness where you can seek the kingdom of heaven first and then have bestowed upon you all the riches that you desire? Now, what they say is you will not be able to lay upon the earth riches for yourself. You must lay upon the earth riches for others, for humanity, for your descendants, for your brothers, your sisters, your wives, your husbands, your kids, strangers. And only then, when you have found the kingdom of heaven within, because it is your natural state, will you get to experience the riches bestowed upon you from heaven, which are greater than any experience that can be had through the material world here on earth. Now I'm going to show you how I got there, but I need to tell you a story about what happened to me over the last 24 hours of my life. So this last week, I've been really trying to align and find what I was missing, right? Something was missing. I was posting content. I was super consistent over the last 3 weeks on Instagram, at least. I grew my following to 40,000, but I hadn't posted on YouTube until last Monday. And I was still experiencing resistance. But why was that? It was like something was missing within me, right? On paper, I had all the success. I was making tens of thousands of dollars. I was going viral. In the best shape of my life with six-pack. I was attracting anything and everything I wanted, but on the inside, I still felt empty. And this has been a common theme in my life. Literally a year ago, I had to let go of a business that was doing $267,000 a month because I lost myself in there. I was smoking weed. I was drinking. I was eating like shit. It was so easy for me to give in to pleasure and not respect myself. I was a slave to false idols. I was a slave to money, a slave to pleasure, a slave to food, and I suffered. And in the process of attaining external success, I had everything on paper that people wanted. And I'd never felt more lonely and lost in my life. So I went on this journey of transformation. I lost 30 pounds. I stepped down as CEO and founders of info product companies that were making exuberant amounts of money because my soul could literally not do it anymore. And over the course of my awakening over the last 3 years, I have been called to this state before you where I sit here now to share this story because this is the only answer. This is the only answer. There is no other way in which to live. And it is so simple. You do not have to find 101 solutions to 101 problems. You have to find one state of mind that naturally arises through a state of being in which you will be bestowed and anointed all the riches, all the abundance, all the success. Now, yesterday morning, for the first time in a decade, I went to church. The service was great. The message was 100% for me. Now, one of the verses was from Galatians, and pretty much the theme of the verse was, man cannot have two gods. Man cannot serve two idols. So you are either serving the Most High, right? Whatever that is. Learning to detach your connection to the people, places, things, and desires that keep you stuck, in which you can meditate into the quantum to allow that state to naturally come from you. Or to whether you're religious and you forgo the pleasures and desires of the material world and seek the kingdom of heaven. Or you align with what Neville Goddard and Napoleon Hill talk about living first from the end, about finding the feeling, unlocking the elevated state of emotion. My goal is to show you that all of these texts are not literal. There is no one way to get to this place. Until I discovered Dr. David R. Hawkins' pathway to surrender, or letting go, the pathway to surrender. I realized that this was the fundamental information that everyone was describing. I want to bring it back to the beach ball metaphor. And we're going to look at it through the lens of the spectrum of consciousness and the elevated states. So, if the Tao, the quantum, pure consciousness is our natural state because it is the invisible, energetic field in which all physical things manifest from, it means everything you can see, touch, and feel is connected to that source to some degree, just resonating at different frequencies. So if you are unable to observe this, but not only through knowing, because you're probably listening to this, you're like, Grant, you've said that 100 times, I know it, but I don't understand it. That is because we need to go from thinking to doing to being. This is what Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about. So we can no longer think about it, and this is my call to arms for you, because you need to do something in every moment into which you naturally unlock the state of being, and that is surrender. And I'm going to tell you how I did it in the last 24 hours. I surrendered and said, Grant, You need to restore your faith. You need to restore your wisdom. You need to surrender to the things that you know are true. And only then can you truly serve the world and bestow riches upon you. And to my fullest degree, with all of my authenticity, all of my just genuine nature, and through all the suffering I've been through, this is the one thing I can give you, and I cannot sell you a dream. All you have to do is surrender. All you have to do is let go of the fear, anger, doubt, guilt, lack, because that is you weighing down the beach ball. That is you weighing down your energy through your thoughts and emotions, creating paradigms in which you can only observe that state of consciousness. But when you truly let go and surrender, when you just give it all up to the source, now I'm telling you the first principle that you need to believe in is that there is a higher power, right? Whether that's God, whether that's the universe, whether that's the quantum field, whether that's the source, the Tao in which they talk about, that's pure consciousness. I just give you 7 different labels, but it doesn't matter because the labels cannot even begin to describe it. You need to feel this in your being. You need to feel that you are not the causal agent. And I'm going to break that down even more. Now, I go to church, great sermon. I realize man cannot serve 2 gods. Either you're serving a false idol or you are seeking the kingdom of heaven and allowing your life to naturally progress from that place. Now, my day continues. I come home, take care of myself. I'm house sitting my dog. I take her on a walk. I eat healthy food. I hang out with one of my friends. I help him with his content. And after I eat, I decide to go on a walk. And I've been listening to this song on repeat by John Bellion called Wash. And he says 2 things that stick out to me. And the song is about him being a father, a husband, and his love for his wife and kids. But he says 2 things that feel like gospel. He says, let it wash all over me. And he also says, lay your grace on me. Now, I want you to feel the energy behind those words because it is not something that is coming from effort. It is not something that is coming from force. It is something that is allowing. It is something that is in surrender to naturally allow the grace and the blessings and our highest state to come through us. To realize that God and the frequencies of love, abundance, joy exist right now. We were the ones placing limitations in between us and experiencing that. And the only way it can be done is by letting it wash all over you. Letting it be the thing that restores your state. Allowing this energy to lay its grace on you. And this is what Dr. David R. Hawkins talks about. The highest calibrations of consciousness in the universe and human consciousness, love, and then peace. And then it's enlightenment. So it goes, enlightenment is with the pure source where you are in oneness. That is a calibration of 700. Then it comes down to peace. And then we have love at a calibration of 500, but we also have a calibration of love at 540, right? These are the highest frequencies. Only 0.04% of people have been able to unlock this state naturally. Now, I want to give you the tools to do this, and it is a realization in a way because it is your God-given right to unlock this state. Now, I go on this walk. I'm listening to this song, and I walk outside. It is golden hour. This deep, profound sense of beauty and peace and presence is coming over me, and I'm like, oh my God, like, it was here all along. I just had to stop blinding myself. And I go on a walk, and I'm listening to this song, and there's this huge hill behind my house. And I see these golden clouds coming over the mountain, and it just feels like I'm being called there, right? Like I'm in full surrender. I'm in full flow. You just fall into that river of life, and it will take you where you need to go. And as I'm beginning to ascend this mountain, I'm overcome with emotion because it was like I was being called back to this source. I was being called back to God. I was being called back to the universe, to this natural presence that the quantum provides, this infinite intelligence that is here to guide us out of unconditional love. And it is from this state that we can create all things. Because when you can embody through a state of being, of natural surrender, and allow the highest frequencies to come through you, then you are able to experience all the abundance, all the success, all the joy, the connection to it all, and it was all at your fingertips the entire time. Now I ascend this mountain, I'm listening to this song. Lay your grace on me, let it wash all over me. A beautiful sunset. But as I decide to turn back, it's still golden hour, and I look behind me, and it's been stormy a bit. Storm clouds. These two beautiful rainbows are coming out of the clouds, and they are the most vibrant rainbows I've ever seen in my life. So vibrant, the biggest one had another rainbow forming under it because of how much light was radiating from that place. I'm like, oh my God, you cannot make this scene up. You cannot make this transcendental experience up. It was here naturally. I did not have to force it. I cannot control the weather. All I had to do was let go. If I was in a dense state, I would have never went on that walk. If I was not in a state of surrender, then I would have got my 10,000 steps and went home. But for some reason, I was called to be present and let life naturally take its course through me. As I was walking down and I saw this golden hour scene with these double rainbows, it started to rain on me. And the song I was listening to, let it wash all over me. Seek and you shall find. That is the message of this story. Seek ye first the kingdom of heaven, and the rest shall be bestowed upon you. That is what I want you to understand. It is your natural state. But through the calibration of love and unconditional love, one realizes that you are not the causal agent in this experience. Through the grace of the higher powers, the higher forces, the invisible intelligence, I was gifted this experience because I let go of the lower states. I did not control that. I am no more special than you. Trust me. I've been on top of the world with some of the biggest ego that made me suffer. I was put on pedestals by all my peers. I was making disgusting amounts of money. I thought I was the fucking man, but it was the greatest lie I'd ever been sold. I'd never felt more alone. And this is what I want to do for people. Because if you're a high achiever, if you've experienced early success, even late success, and you've ascended the mountaintop and realized it wasn't what you were looking for, I've done the same. And I've suffered so much looking for these answers. I've suffered so much, all to come to this realization that all I had to do was let go. All I had to do was surrender back to this natural state. And through the grace and through the love, I was given this miraculous experience. So we know everything about manifestation is, if you want to create a new experience for yourself, if you want to transform yourself on a fundamental level, it comes to an identity shift. And I'm telling you, the only true everlasting identity shift does not come through spiritual bypassing or thinking that you are the one in control of this, because trust me, I've read all the knowledge, right? I get it. When they say you are the creator, you are not the ocean, my friend. Now, you may not be a meaningless drop in the ocean. You may be the ocean in a drop, but you still are not the ocean. You embody the traits. Man was created in the image of God, but I promise you there are forces operating in this place beyond control, and the only way you can let them do your thing is through surrender. And through surrender, you begin to naturally embody the traits. This is the story of Jesus. The Father gave his Son to the world to take on our sin, to take on our temptations, to take on our lust. And only through his death and resurrection was he returned to the Father. Think about that. If you have false idols, if you are so focused on your status, if you are so focused on your money, if you are so focused on the lack that you have in your life, you have false idols. And only through the surrender and death of that identity can you be restored to your true state of natural, effortless abundance and success. And I promise you, this is the state you want to create from. I lost 30 pounds and I've been able to keep it off. For the first time in my life, I have an 8-pack. I'm making money effortlessly doing something I love. I'm literally chilling in my backyard right now, talking about what it means to be human, talking about the human surrender. I'm not trying to sell a creator a $30,000 package and be like, let me build a business for you and monetize. That was great. Made a lot of money. Cool. It is not sustainable. In that process, I found myself drinking, smoking, giving into all types of physical lust, let's just say. I was a shell of myself. I had no self-respect for myself. This is why they say in the Bible, you must die to yourself every day. This is why you must put yourself on the cross. You must give yourself a crucifixion to surrender your lower states and the ability to awaken the higher states. And only then can you truly embody the kingdom of heaven. It is nothing to be sought. It is something to be surrendered to. And only then will it naturally reveal itself to you. So, if you're on a journey of self-transformation, if you're on a journey of self-development, this is the information realization I wish I had. Trust me, I've done all the things. I've ran the business, managed 13 people, managed a 7-figure a year run rate, doing $250,000 a month. Like, I've done all the things that look cool on paper. I've driven the supercars. I've traveled the world. I've literally done every fucking cool thing this world has sold you. Done all the drugs, done all the partying. Had a good time with some females. It means jack shit unless you're living from this place, because only from this state of consciousness and perception and clear vision of the world can you truly make the decisions that make this life meaningful. For so long, it felt like my life was running away from me, and I was always chasing something new. I was always in pursuit, and I was sacrificing my health, my relationships at the expense of it. There was not a book that I could have read that has given me this information. There was not a course that I could have taken. It was only through the act of doing and being. Now, there's probably a million people on the internet selling you a course about manifestation, this and that. I promise you, I've seen it all. I've tested it all. I've unlocked the altered states of consciousness. In this 15 to 20 minute video, this is everything you need if you can listen to this and truly begin to embody what I'm saying. And I wish nothing but love, success, peace, joy, and abundance for you. So if you like these raw talks and you're looking to restore this place in your life, make sure to stick around, because we'll be back on the whiteboard this Wednesday. But I got nothing but love, and I hope you seek and find the kingdom of heaven. I'll see you in the next one.
Peace.